Good morning and welcome to another session of the ISM Lunch and Learn webinar series. Today is our last webinar for the month of October. My year has flown. Today we're going to be taking a look at Paperless Office with Ms. Erin Oldaker out of our Southern California office. A bit of housekeeping, everyone will be on mute. Questions will be taken at the end of the presentation. If something comes up and you have a question, please feel free to use the chat window at the bottom of your control module. With that, I'm going to turn everything over to Erin. Erin, thank you and welcome.
Thanks, Sherry. So welcome to the Paperless Office webinar. Paperless Office is a standard feature in all of Sage 100 systems, so in version 4.3 and above. So this gives you the ability to PDF and save on documents and document management throughout your system. So we'll go over how Sage Paperless Office saves you time, saves you money, and frustration. It is delivered and bundled within the product itself, so there is no extra charge to do things such as faxing, emailing of your documents that you use on a daily basis. Then we'll take a look at a demonstration of the Paperless Office across multiple modules. We'll take a look at it within the core modules, such as accounts payable. We'll also look at it within your distribution modules. So how can Paperless Office save you time, especially when it comes to things that you do on a regular basis, such as sending out statements to your customers, sending out sales order acknowledgments, bills of lading, or sales order invoices that you mail out. So think of all the things that you do every day that comes to paper handling. So with Paperless Office, the savings go beyond just the paper itself. It's also the hardware, the printers, and the copiers that you have to keep up to date and maintain, or the postage that you're paying to mail out those statements and customer invoices to your customers on an almost daily basis. Think of all the recycling and disposing, even the storage costs. Also, when you're with Sage 100, it arguably has the best audit trails to reports and journals and registers, but because it has so many different reports and registers, that can add up to a lot of paper, a lot of time that you're spending as well, filing that paperwork, etc. So think of all the ways you may put it away. You may put it in notebooks, you may put it in the filing cabinets, or even just in a box and store it in a locked office. But that does take time, and it takes expenses as well to pay for rent for that. So Paperless Office is designed to save you all of that, save you the time it takes to file them away and store that information, as well as the paper savings itself and the space it takes. So Paperless Office is a secure method for generating and archiving your documents. And it does that through what is called a PDF converter. And that's built into Sage 100, so you can create your documents automatically in the background without having to do anything else besides your regular process of printing your documents. So it will save it to a PDF and make it available to you in a PDF Paperless Office viewer. So alternately, your crystal forms and your documents, such as your invoice forms that are saved or printed as a crystal form. So the document can be saved to PDF as well, and then electronically delivered by email or fax to your customer. And there is security on several layers built into Paperless Office to make sure that only those users that should be saving or accessing those reports, registers, and documents can access those properly and open those up. And that's in role maintenance. You can set it up. Paperless Office allows you to email documents that I mentioned, not just to your customers, but to your vendors. You can email purchase orders, your return orders to your vendors when you need to. So this is going to save you time. You're not going to have to manually your email application, such as Outlook, manually attach as a PDF or a Word document to your email. So with Paperless Office, it's built in, and with email addresses are stored in the master file within your vendor maintenance and within your customer maintenance. So I'll show you how you can store those and access those email addresses, and then when you want to print your documents, you can add on-the-fly email addresses. So if there is a salesperson or a warehouse person you want to copy on an email, you can add them to that particular order. So the same with job cost invoices and payroll direct deposit stubs. So Paperless Office reaches just about every module within Sage 100, and it makes it that much more useful. So everyone that is on the line, if you're not currently using Paperless Office, I would highly encourage you to start using it. And there's minimal setup involved. So it's built in and it's very easy to set up and start using. They made it even easier with the current version. So Paperless Office is available with public services such as Google Mail, Yahoo, and Hotmail. This means you no longer have to maintain your own email server, but you have other options. And then the communication between the client and the server can be encrypted, so it protects your sensitive company information. And then Microsoft faxing is supported, so you don't have to go out and sign up for like a faxing service. It uses the Microsoft faxing engine that is built into Windows. So you can use the fax services driver built into the Microsoft window and utilize that for sending out your customer invoices, your customer statements. So there is no additional charge than for the faxing functionality. So next, Paperless Office, it always saves a document to a PDF. So whether it's a journal and a register or whether it's a form you're printing out, you always will have a PDF that you can go back to. So if your customer calls you up and says, can I get that email resent to me or statement sent to me, you can go into your customer maintenance and click a button and have it resend the email or fax. So you also have access within these PDF viewers to all the documents, whether they're internal documents, such as your journals and registers. So think of all the pages and pages that's involved with the sales journal and printing that out. All of that can be accessed in a PDF viewer so that different people in your office can see that information. So it can be financial reports as well. So if you have a customized Crystal report or Crystal financial report, you can make that available to your managers or executives in the office. So you're not having to print it out and then distribute it manually to the different people in the office. I'll go through the paperless viewer, the ones you want to have access to it through security in Sage 100 full maintenance. So they can see the documents and reports that they need to see, so it makes it a lot easier as far as distributing to reading those reports to the different employees and people in your office. And then external documents are sent out and you can optionally print and email. So PDFing automatically happens through the PDF converter. So you have the option to some customers set up so they have a paper invoice sent out, and then other customers can have their invoice emailed to them. So it works side by side. You have a mix of some customers being electronic, having electronic delivery, and then other customers can have just regular printed paper invoices and have that occur depending on the setup in the customer or the vendor maintenance. So then the journal and register viewer, which is right here, makes all this available so you can filter, you can even sort by the company, the module, or the individual document itself. So within Paperless Office, you have this nice journal and register or period end viewer, and you have multiple companies. It makes it easier when you need to pinpoint which journal or register or report you're looking for. So remember, all the reports, even if it's a customized Crystal report, can be available within the viewer. And then there's built-in security through different layers. There's the standard Sage 100 task securities and the role maintenance that you can set up so only certain users can view and access the reports. And then there are security events for deleting reports within the viewer and then even documents that you sent outside of Sage 100. So for example, let's say you want to send your internal accounts receivable person a secure encrypted salesperson commission report. So you certainly don't want that commission report to be opened by anybody, so you can attach a password to the individual PDF document itself, so only with the password can the user open the report. So this is also useful for like payroll documents such as the check register. So you can encrypt the Adobe document for opening, and I'll show you guys how to do that in the demonstration. So you can also attach a document as well to any journal and register and view that in the Paperless Office viewer. So this is going to be very helpful for cutting down the amount of external documents that you receive. So most of you or all of you are going to be receiving in some way, usually through the mail, invoices from your vendors. So a lot of you are going to file those away in a filing cabinet with associated source documents. But what you can do, you can simply scan those invoices in and then simply attach it to an invoice register. So when you're entering in your invoices, you can print your invoice register and then attach the documents, and you can have 100 vendor invoices all in one document. You can use PDF to combine all those invoices into like a single document and then attach that day's list of invoices to register. So when you go back to look at the invoice register, you can see all of the invoices that were paid with that batch of invoices. So that can be accessed at any time within the journal and register viewer, and you can be prompted when you actually print the AP register for that PDF. So it will go out and attach it and grab it. And we have some customers that use high-speed scanners to scan that information in. So it's like a copy machine. It will copy it, it will scan it, and combine it into one single PDF. And then you no longer have to file the paper invoice that you receive from your vendors. So that over time can take up a lot of room in filing cabinets. It's about reducing paper, not just the paper that Sage 100 generates, but also the paper that you're receiving from your vendors as well. So all those AP invoices take up room in notebooks and filing cabinets and boxes. So we want to give you a way or an option to reduce all of that clutter and simply streamline everything in electronic format and then give you easy access at your fingertips to that information anytime you need it. The Paperless Office viewer will give you the ability to do that. You can also attach a document as well to any journal and register and view that in the Paperless Office viewer. Let's go through the demonstration actually. So let's end this and open Sage. So for setting up Paperless Office, first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into Library Master Main and then Company Maintenance. And you can set up email settings, so Paperless Office email settings in each of the companies. So if you go to, let's go to ABC Company, and then we're going to go to email. So here's the SMTP information that you fill out. So you're going to have to get this from your IT department. Then you're going to set up like an admin email account that is just accessing that email SMTP server. This isn't the actual email that it comes from. You're going to set that up later. But so you're going to set up like an admin email account, enter the password, the domain, and sometimes it takes a few times to test it out and make sure all the settings are correct. But that's how you set up the SMTP first. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into the Paperless Office module, and then there's Main, Utilities, and Setup. So we're going to start with Setup. So Paperless Office Options. Let's go into it. So you have the ability to enable electronic delivery and PDF storage, and you can choose that for specific things like reports, forms, your journals and registers, etc. You can also set up settings for loading data on the initial viewer access, and so like customer viewer, vendor viewer, report viewer, etc. And then you can tell the system to keep only the last PDF copy. So if you want to just keep the last PDF copy for like the reports, the journals, or registers, you would just mark it up here. So that's how you first would set it up. Then what you want to do is you're going to set up for each of the different like journals, registers, period end. So I'll walk through each of those with you. So this is the journal and register maintenance screen. And so I already have it's set up for all companies, all modules, and all documents. The reason I do this is because it's the easiest way. You're still going to find your information by company code, by module. It's still sorted by that information. But when you go through like the upgrade process, it doesn't take as much time to go through and relink each of these different locations, the PDF directory that you have. So we set it up for all companies, all modules, and all documents. Then what you're going to want to do is enter a PDF directory, and this is usually stored within your Mass 90 directory, just so that when it does come time for an upgrade, that data is moved over with the Mass 90 directory and it's not stored somewhere else on the server. It's in one easy place that you can access it. So you have the ability to say auto create PDF. You can either have it prompt you each time, or you can say yes or no. We usually will mark off yes, just so you don't have that prompt every time. You can do a password protect for journals and registers. Usually journals and we don't set a password for, but you can if you want. Then you can also prompt for like the associated PDF journal during the journal and register printing. So I marked that off and I set the associated PDF directory. So that here is my PDF documents folder, and I'll show you how that pops up when we get to that point. So that's how you would do your journal and register maintenance. And all of these are pretty similar. So I'm going to do period end report maintenance next. We'll take a look at that setting. And again, all companies and all modules. And all you do is enter that PDF directory, which is usually the same location. Auto create the PDF. We're going to change that. We're going to have that yes, and then you can do your password protect. So it's pretty similar to the journals and registers setup. Let's see, the report maintenance is going to be pretty similar to the other ones as well. So we can set it up. Here I've set up two different ones. I've set up a specific one for the AR salesperson commission report. And the reason I set it up separate is because I want to actually password protect this one. So I set up a password so that when someone does try to go and open the salesperson commission report, they have to enter a password or else they can't view it. So it has all the other settings, but we just changed it so it has a password associated with it. And then we did all modules, all documents, so the same thing. So let's not do prompts. Let's just do password protect prompt. Okay. Here we go. So here's for all the rest of the reports that you have set up. And then the last one we have is the form maintenance. So this is like your PO form, your SO, etc. And you're going to set this up according to the specific document. Now the reason we set it up by document is because you're going to enter like the email address from wherever it's coming from. So let's take a look at the check. So here I've included like all the AP checks. We've enabled electronic delivery here, so we're able to electronically deliver this out, and then you enter the from address. So you can enter any email address here that you want. It's going to come from that specific email address. When it emails out, it's not going to show up in like your Outlook box. It will give you a prompt that says, you know, how many successful emails went out, and it will show you, you know, one, or if you've only sent out one, etc. And then here's our PDF directory, so it's the same thing. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. So just for example, like the PO sales order, I entered in my email address here just so that it's coming from a specific email. So when I show you guys, we'll see where it goes. You can also deliver during the check register update. You can watermark for valid check. There's some few other options here on the second tab. And then the last part of the setup process is going to be the electronic delivery message maintenance. So here's where you would set up the specific email that's going out with the attached documents. So for example, let's look at the PO order. And what you can do is you can enter in like the subject. You have the ability to add a merge field, so you can choose any of these fields to bring in. So you can say like purchase order and then the purchase order number. You can say the vendor name attached, please find, you know, purchase order placed on this date. Questions regarding this order, please call our purchasing department. You would enter your information here, and then you can say thank you, purchasing department. So here you can only add text. You can't add HTML or any visuals or any logos or anything. So it's just going to be basic text for this. So you can set that up for each of the different forms you're sending out. So we have it for the SO invoice, the SO order, return order, direct deposit stubs, etc. So you would set those up all separately. Whoops, what did I push? There we go. Let's close out of that. So now I want to show you how it saves out to Paperless Office, and then we'll go take a look at the Paperless Office viewer that I was talking about. So let's start in accounts payable. We're going to do invoice data entry, so we have something to pay. And we're going to choose the first vendor. $1,000. It's going to automatically populate for rent because that vendor's set up for it. So we're going to accept, and then we're going to click that quick print. So you can either do quick print or you can say invoice register to get to this point. So we're going to post it in 2020. That's the date that my system is in. And here you just have to make sure you have a printer set up. You can always use deferred if you don't have a printer set up, and then you want to press print. Now you don't want to press preview. If you press preview, that's just going to populate a preview of the document, it's not actually going to save the document. If you click on print, you'll still see the pop-up of the register. You'll see it in PDF format, but it will also save out to the Paperless Office viewer. So here we get that pop-up for the associated PDF directory, as I was talking about. And here's where you would add in like associated PDF file names. So we're going to add in an invoice that goes along with that invoice data entry. And all you do is find that invoice, you attach it here, and then you would click OK. It's going to go ahead, it's going to process the register. It'll pop up as a view. So here is the register. We have accounts payable invoice register for $1. So that's going to save out. Do you want to update the invoice register? Yes. And then we're going to print the daily transaction register. And here's our daily transaction register, so this will be saved out as well under Journal and Register Viewer, and then we're going to update the daily transaction register. So now let's go ahead and take a look at those documents that were saved out. So we're going to go into the Journal and Register Viewer, and then right here you can choose the company code, the module code, any of the specific let's see if we can get all of them. There we go. So we have AP, invoice register. So that narrows it down. So here we can see the document that we saved out, 1024. And if you go over here, you'll see the PDF location, so that's where it's stored out. And then if you scroll over more, you have the associated PDF location. So this is where that attachment comes in. So here it's where it's telling you if there's an attachment that exists. And if you want to take a look at that attachment, you can come up here to open associated PDF. And it's going to populate, it's going to pull up the invoice that you saved out, saved out to that location. So that's the way you can pull it up. So now let's look at the AP Daily Transaction Register. That's the other, let's see, 1024. Let's take a look at it. So this is that invoice register for $1,000 that we saved out. Okay, so now we're going to look at a check. So if we do check printing, electronic payment, and we're going to go to invoice payment selection. So here we're going to pick what was the date on that? 10/24/17. There we go. So we selected, we're going to proceed, and then we're going to go to electronic and check printing and electronic payment maintenance or payment registered. Let's open that up. Come on. Looks like my computer froze. Give me a second. It's thinking. It's still thinking. Hold on. Sorry about this. I don't know why this seems to happen whenever we do webinars. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it opens up that check printing. So we're going to pick the bank code, the form code. So now the thing that's going to be different is you're going to have this Paperless Office output. Okay, so you can say either print all, you can say print and PDF all, or just PDF all. So we're not going to actually print the check, but we are just going to PDF. So we're just going to say print PDF all, and then we're going to go out and we're going to say, okay, print. So this is going to save that check copy of that check out to the vendor inquiry file. And so here, we're going to enter in our password. As I mentioned, I password protected that check, so not anyone can just go out and find it. Remove checks. Do we want to print check register? Yes. I had something open still, so let's go to here's our check register for that $1,000 to Airway property, and then we're going to update it. Print daily transaction register. Yep, we want to save that out. Here's that PDF of the daily transaction register, and then we want to update. Now I'll show you where you can find that check. So now what you can do is you can come up here to Paperless Office, and you can go to the vendor viewer. So if you're sending out customer like statements and so forth, you would go to customer, but we're just going to look up the vendor viewer. And there's that check that we entered, accounting date 10/24, PDF location. So we can double click on it, and we can pull up that check. So now we have stub check stub. You can go ahead and reprint this if you needed to, or if you need to send a copy of it to a vendor to prove that you printed the check, etc. So next, what I wanted to do is we're going to send out a purchase order. So we're going to enter in a purchase order, and we're going to send it to a specific vendor. Actually, before we do that, let me go back to setup options. So there's one more thing. Before you email out a PO, an SO, an invoice, etc., you do have to set up their email addresses or a contact info on the vendor maintenance or the customer maintenance. So we're going to take a look at the first vendor in here, and here's where you would enter the email address. You can enter as many email addresses here as you need to, separated by a semicolon. And then what you would do is go to this paperless button. And this is going to pop up the setup window. So here I can say either AP check or PO order. You would have to set them up differently. So here, PDF delivery options, you would say print and email, or just print. If you just want to print it, or just email or fax, etc., you can set a password here. Then you would go to the email tab, and you would say you can either use the email address and data entry. That's on like when you enter the PO, you have that field where you can enter the email address, or you can use the email address that's on the main vendor tab. Or what you can do is you can set contact codes. So for example, usually I would recommend setting it up by their position, because if they leave, if it's under their specific name and they leave, it's hard, you have a bunch of different contacts on the list. So if you just set up like the buyer, and then if they leave, you can set up a new email address for them. So we set that for buyer, and we also are going to email it out to the vendor email address. So that's going to be the same setup in customer maintenance. You're going to click on that Paperless Office button. So you want to set that up ahead of time. Let's go into purchase order entry. We'll create a purchase order that we can email out. So here's that other email address that you can set up like on the fly. You can add in, any other additional people, salespeople, etc., that you need to add on in the fly. So let's order some items here. And we're going to accept it. And then we're just going to do a quick print. So we want to save changes here. So here is our purchase order printing. So this is similar to the check printing. So we have this Paperless Office output. There are little different options. So now what we can do is we can just say print all. So if you have a batch of POs that you've entered and you're going to send out, or you're going to print out that whole batch, it's going to go according to what that setup was in the vendor master file. If you have it clicked off as print and email, and you say print PDF all and electronic delivery, it's going to print an email. Or you can do print PDF or electronic delivery, so it will do either or you can just say electronic delivery. We're just going to do electronic delivery because I only have one purchase order out there that we're going to send out. So let's click on our purchase order that we entered, select, and then we go ahead and click print. It's going to go out to that server, the SMTP connection that we've created. And then what we're going to get is we're going to get this window that pops up. So you'll get a window for the results of the electronic delivery. It's going to say how many were attempted emails, how many successful, and then if you have any, so you'll know if they all went out correctly. Again, you're not going to have like a sent copy in your Outlook folder. It's going to tell you how many were successful from here. So let's see if I've gotten the email. I got the email. Let me show you real quick. So here's the email, airway property attached, please find questions regarding your order, and then here's the PO as an attached document. Okay, so now let's go into sales order. Oops, there we go. And this is going to be similar. We're going to do sales order entry. We have an email set up, that's good. Now we're going to order some items here. It's the same process as entering the PO. And then we're going to accept, and we're going to go ahead and print. So here it's set to electronic delivery only, and we're going to use the sales order form that's out there. And then let's choose that sales order that we created. And it's the same thing. So it's going to go out, it's going to talk to the SMTP, it's going to tell you how many went out, how many successful emails, etc. So next I'm going to show you that commissions report. So we set up a separate setup for that commissions report, and I believe we set up a password with it. Oops. I don't think my setup was correct for sales orders. The PO order went out fine, but it looks like that sales order setup might have had something wrong with it because I got that error. So let's go into sales order reports, and then we're going to look at maybe it's an AR. Let's check out AR. Salesperson commission report. So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to print out sales order commission report. So what you're going to want to do with reports when you want to send them, there's no like save as PDF, etc. But here when you choose the drop down for the printers, you're actually going to have an option for Paperless Office. So you're just going to click on Paperless Office, and then we're going to go ahead and print. You can store the PDF, you can check that off, you can email it out to any internal people that you want to email, and it's the same idea as electronic delivery for like sales orders. Or you can fax, you can set up a fax. We're just going to save it as the PDF so we can take a look at it in the viewer. So we're going to go to Report Viewer. And here's that salesperson commission report. So it's saved out to that PDF location. We're going to open it. And here it's going to ask us a password. And I can't, there's the password. and then it's going to populate the salesperson commission report for us. So that's with any reports. If you want to set it up, you can set it up with a password. You can not set it up with a password. But you do want to go into role maintenance and make sure that the settings for each of the users so that they have the right access to view the specific areas that you want them to view. So that's pretty much all with Paperless Office. I kind of went through some of the modules that you know, in distribution and your core modules. So does anybody have any questions?
I have unmuted all of the phone lines, so if you have any questions, please speak up.
I don't see anything in the chat window.
No, nothing in the chat window. Seems like Sue is talking, but we can't hear you, Sue. I've got a question now. Oh, Rose said, good job, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Erin. It was a good job. Any other questions out there? Well, again, guys, if anything comes up, you can always reach out to me at AM for account manager, am@goism.com. Take a look next month for our webinars. Because of Thanksgiving and the holidays, it will be a very limited month, and then in December we will start our year-end processing webinars. So we are winding down on the 2017 Lunch and Learn series. Erin, I want to thank you very much for your time today. Thank you everyone for attending, and please come back and visit us and enjoy our webinars again. This webinar, like all others, will be posted out on our YouTube channel, so feel free to go out there and browse. Lots of useful information. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.